Welcome students. Actually, in the previous class, we actually discussed about rectilinear propagation of light and also discuss about applications of rectilinear propagation of light and discuss about pinhole camera, working principle of pinhole camera and nature of the images that is formed by pinhole camera. Now today we actually discuss about the second application, that is we take as suppose shadow. Okay, so today we discuss about just shadow. So first question is what is shadow? Okay, or what is the definition of shadow? In generally, when an opaque object or opaque object is placed between a source of light and a screen. Okay, suppose here we take a source like candle, and in this case suppose it is your screen. Okay, suppose it is your screen, we take it as screen, and if suppose a body or opaque object like suppose a ball is placed, suppose a solid ball that is placed actually in between source and screen, then actually we get a shadow on this screen. Okay, and the size of the shadow is depend on actually the size of the object also, and also size of the source. Okay, now this dark area actually called shadow. This is the dark area and this is called shadow. Now the question is, what are the conditions for the formation of a shadow? So here actually there are actually several conditions that are, we must have a source of light obviously, and the second one an opaque object to obstruct the path of light. Okay, and also an opaque screen that is actually for shadow. To obtain shadow we need a opaque screen, so screen is required, and also object, this is object, opaque object is also required to get a shadow, and also a source of light, source is required. So these are the conditions to get a shadow. And now we move to our next point, that is characteristics of shadow. What are the characteristics of shadow? In this case, we actually take different characteristics. That is, first one is a shadow is always actually a dark area, not a bright one actually, and it does not show the color of the object. Always it is dark, not the color. If suppose object is taken as red color, but the shadow is also dark, and if the color of object is green also, then we get also a dark actually area. So it does not show any type of color of the object. The next one is actually a, this one is first, and the second one, that is actually a shadow may or may not look like the actual shape of the object. Always actually we cannot get the size of the shadow is same as the object. Okay, sometimes the shadow of object is less than the object, and sometimes it is bigger than the object. That actually depend on the size of the object also, and also size of the source and screen. Okay, now we move to our next characteristics number 3, that is the size of a shadow depends on the distance of the object actually distance of the object from the source of light and also the screen. Okay, suppose we take a body which is very near to screen and source is far distance, then we actually get the size of the shadow is very small. Okay, but suppose if object is actually placed very near to source of light and screen is very far distance, then actually we get large area, large dark area, or we can get actually large size of shadow than object. Okay, so actually we can easily say that the size of the shadow depends on the distance between source and object and also the distance between object and screen. Okay, the next one is the fourth characteristics, that is we move our next characteristics, that is fourth. Fourth one is actually a shadow in generally can only be found on a screen. Okay, so suppose in the noon actually, suppose we stand on a ground, okay, open ground, playground, then our shadow is actually formed on the ground surface. Okay, here actually ground is the screen. Okay, similarly in generally a shadow is always formed on a screen. Okay, sometimes it may be on ground, it may be water, it may be wall, it may be any screen, okay, etc., or it may be a cardboard sheet. Okay, now we discuss about our next portion, that is the next one, that is umbra and penumbra. The second one is penumbra, first umbra. Okay, so actually what is umbra? In this case, actually, when shadow is obtained from an object with the help of source of light, we generally a shadow consists two region. One is central dark and the second one is actually outer less dark region. Okay, so suppose here we take a body, this is the body, and or we can say it is an opaque object, and here we take a source. Suppose this is your source, here actually we take source. So from source we can get actually a ray of light. Okay, from this case, if we placed a screen to the right side of the object, then we get actually one very dark region and another one that is actually less dark, that is actually less dark outer surface. Okay, this is actually less dark. Here from this case actually the central dark, that is called umbra. Okay, so this is called actually penumbra and this is umbra. Okay, in generally actually for umbra region no light actually pass. Okay, that means umbra is the region where total darkness occurs or no ray of light enter this region through the opaque medium or opaque object. And for penumbra actually few amount of light actually pass, so it is actually less dark. Okay, so in generally the formation of umbra or penumbra depends upon actually size of the light source and obviously the distance between object and screen. Okay, so here we actually we discuss umbra and also penumbra. Now we discuss about how actually size depends, size of umbra and also penumbra. Okay, suppose we take actually two different cases. Suppose at first we take actually different cases. So first one is we take point source and a extended source of light. Okay, suppose first one is point source. This is actually point source, and here we take a bigger object. Then what happened for this case? Actually what happened for this case, if a screen is placed, then we can easily say this. For this case, actually we get a bigger shadow, but there is no penumbra. Here is totally we can get actually fully dark region, that is called actually umbra. Okay. Now, suppose for this case actually no penumbra occurs, we get only umbra region. Okay, when actually we take point source and the object size is very much greater than the point sources. Okay, and this region actually uniformly dark region. This is actually uniformly dark, uniformly dark region, and here actually we take the body or object that is bigger than point source. Now suppose we take actually a source which is compared to or which whose size is very near about the object or opaque body. Then what actually happens? So here actually we take suppose a source, that is suppose a candle, and we take a body like this. We can say the size of the body is compared to the source, and for this case we can get actually two region, one umbra and one penumbra. Okay, how actually here we can get for this case? Suppose we take two different ray. From top point we take this one, okay, and the another one that is in this region. Okay, and for lower point actually we take this one, and for this point we take this region, and here we actually get two region, that is this one is central dark. Okay, this one is central dark, that is actually umbra region, and if we take a big circle, then we get actually penumbra region. Okay, so this is actually your penumbra region. Okay, so always actually we cannot get umbra and penumbra region. Suppose the source is point and the size of the object is very much greater than point source, then we cannot get actually penumbra. But when actually size of the source of light and opaque medium or opaque object is compared to the size of the source, then we can get actually umbra and penumbra. But suppose if we take a source whose size is very much greater than actually the object. Suppose this is the source and this is your candle, and we take a body that is suppose very small with respect to, we can say, the source of light. So for this case we can get actually two different rays of light. If we draw like this, one ray in this direction and another one actually in this direction also, and from the top point we take one in this direction. Okay, and the another one is downward. Okay, we get in this direction. Here actually we just take, if screen is placed here, then we can get one very dark region and another one is, this one is penumbra region. Okay, so here this one is umbra, and this region actually is called penumbra. Okay, penumbra. But if we actually place the screen actually here, then we cannot get the umbra region, because actually after a certain distance, okay, actually they meet here, this point, and we just get actually, for this case, suppose in this case we just get very large, actually we just get very large amount of penumbra, that is very low dark. Okay, so this is actually penumbra. Here also we get umbra region, but that is very negligible. Okay, so in this way we can get different types of actually umbra and also penumbra region. Okay, so here actually these are the conditions. Suppose we take a point source, then we cannot actually get any type of penumbra region. Always we get just umbra, okay, uniformly dark region. And if we take, suppose the size of source of light is as compared to size of the object or opaque body, then we can get umbra and also we can get penumbra. But if we take the object that is actually the size of the object is less than the size of the source of light, then actually at first we get actually umbra and penumbra. Here obviously the penumbra region is greater than the umbra region, but suppose screen is just displaced for a far distance from the object, then the size of the umbra is actually very small become, and we actually get one big penumbra region. Okay, so in this case actually, after a certain time actually it completely vanishes. Okay, because actually here for this case only penumbra actually occurs, no umbra found for this case. But suppose here we, if we place on surface, for this case the last one, if we place here actually one surface, then we actually get umbra also. But for first case actual size of the umbra is big or bigger than the second one. Okay, but if here we place one surface, and also if we placed here one surface, so for this case we take three surfaces or three screen number 1, screen number 2 and screen number 3. For first case actually we get umbra penumbra. For second case also we get actually umbra and penumbra, but the size of the umbra is less than the first one. And for third case only we get penumbra region, no umbra occurs, because actually as the screen is moving, okay, then the size of the umbra is reducing in size, and after a certain time actually it will totally vanish. Okay, so actually this is the end of today's class. In this class we just discuss about actually what is shadow and how shadow forms, what are the conditions to get a shadow, and what are the characteristics of a shadow, and what do you mean by umbra penumbra, how actually uh, umbra and penumbra we can get, or what are the conditions for actually what are the conditions for getting different size of umbra and penumbra, when actually size of the umbra is greater than actually size of the penumbra, when actually size of the penumbra is greater than size of the umbra also. Okay, and when only we get penumbra. Okay, or when only we get umbra. These are the conditions. Okay, so here actually different types of question is coming. Okay, or we can say the actually different types of actually question is coming from this portion. Okay, and there are several number of actually conditions to get different size of umbra and penumbra. Okay, and in the next class we actually discuss, this is the end of today's class. In the next class we discuss about eclipses. Okay, and different types of eclipses.